my nerdy rant, but we have all this neuroplasticity that we can constantly just learn and take things in, and our brain will change neural pathways when we do learn something new. And so allowing students to understand that you are not stuck. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, you are not stuck.
Right.
On this episode of TLC Connections, Alyssa Brouse sits down with Marlanea Heaven, a counselor with the Lincoln Center for Family and Youth, to explore the power of social-emotional learning, resilience, and prevention. Drawing from her work with students across multiple school districts, Marlanea shares how helping young people understand their emotions, regulate their nervous systems, and build confidence can create lasting change both inside and outside the classroom. She also reflects on her own journey through grief, military service, and personal growth, offering an honest perspective on the experiences that shaped her passion for helping others. We hope you enjoy the episode.
Welcome, Marlanea. Thanks so much for being here this morning.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Of course. So, Marlanea, let's just jump right in. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about your relationship with TLC and what you do for work for us?
So I actually have an interesting position with my work with TLC, but I have been with you guys for almost 3 years now, which is crazy to even think about that. So I started as a youth and family counselor. That was, I'm going to say October of 2023. And from there, I've went part-time to full-time to part-time, just transitioning through life. And fortunately, you guys have always worked with me in that process. And so as a youth and family counselor, I pretty much help parents with family reunification, help them with parental skills, and kind of help bridge those barriers from their own life circumstances that have prevented them from fully being able to be a parent. And so I started there, and then I worked at Roosevelt. So Roosevelt High School, the alternative high school to Norristown High. And that was I love that place. I was the social emotional learning counselor there. I got to create workshops, so social emotional learning workshops. I got to facilitate them within the classroom setting. And it was a really awesome experience because the teachers got to see the students break out of their shell in a different way because we're having more intimate conversations and classmates are getting to know each other more, and just being able to open up that, I would say, like, vulnerability that students sometimes don't have a space for in school settings was very powerful. And it was a beautiful experience. It was beautiful. It was transformative. And now I kind of just float around through different school districts. So still a counselor, still doing the social emotional learning work. But I've worked with at least 6 different school districts that you guys have. And that's been an amazing experience.
Yeah, Marlanea, something I appreciate so much about you is you are very adaptable and flexible. You are my person. I can call and be like, Marlanea, I have this very random need from a school district. Can you come and do it? And you're like, yeah, of course.
For sure. I'm like the butterfly in TLC just floating around.
Yes, I love it.
I
appreciate that so much about you. And it was so cool that Roosevelt opened the doors to the unique expertise that you brought into that school. I think that everything that you did there, the workshops, the SEL, I know you integrated a lot of mindfulness, and I'll allow you to talk more about that. But I thought that was really cool for you to have that freedom to bring that into a school and have that part of the students' day-to-day experience. So tell us more about the specific things that you were doing in the workshops and how you supported the kids.
Yes. So to break down social emotional learning in general, so I'm teaching them the self-awareness, self-management, so how they're managing their emotions, social skills, which is so needed, relational skills, but also responsible decision-making. And so in an alternative school setting, they are in there sometimes because of their lack of good decisions at times, or maybe even it just life circumstances. Again, it just kind of comes down to that. So students were in there for chronic absenteeism, for behaviors, And again, some of them just had really tough environments and backgrounds that just led them there. But fortunately, it created a community where everyone supported each other. So not just me supporting the students, I had a whole village of other teachers and staff members. And you really felt that. The students felt it. And so creating the workshops based off of what the students' needs were actually came pretty easy because I saw the stuff that I went through from middle school, high school, going into college, and it was being mirrored in those students. And so once I got to know them, I started with classroom observations and building relationships with them. And then we also did success plans. So the beginning of the school year, we created success plans for, I think maybe 50 or so students.
Wow.
And then another counselor did another 50, another counselor did another 50, somewhere around that. We kind of broke it up. And the success plans started with, what are you interested in? So what are your hobbies? And then what are your career goals? Are there strengths that you have? And are there challenges? And it was interesting to see and also sad, but a lot of students couldn't come up with their own strengths. And so from there, I knew that when I created these workshops, I had to build on their confidence and that self-awareness piece of what are they missing, but also honing in on what they already have, but just didn't see it within themselves. And yeah, we did some goal setting as well, just where they wanted to be per quarter.
Yeah.
And it was so awesome to see. So I actually did my capstone for my master's degree on the workshops and on the success plans that were created and the classroom observations. And I did a mixed method approach to see what was working and what wasn't working. And so a whole lot of data between qualitative and quantitative data, but the results afterwards were behavioral referrals were down by 6%. And that was just within a semester.
Wow.
And so course passing rates, that went up 8%.
Wow.
And I got to actually utilize the school-based data in order to see these results shift. And yeah, I mean, like I would go into the classrooms and each week was a different workshop. And so the students would get all of the students were getting the same workshop, but I was doing it multiple times a day, multiple times a week. And it really was just teaching them communication skills and the neuroscience behind everything. So what's going on within your senses. So, we have our senses are sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch.
Right.
But through that, we process everything through our nervous system.
Right.
And so helping students understand that, when you're having a conversation or when you are taking things in with what you're watching or what you're listening to, it's starting to program stuff into your nervous system. And so how are we taking care of ourselves in subtle ways? But these were conversations that the students weren't used to having.
Yeah.
So that was eye-opening for them, and also to hear their lived experiences of what they wanted to change or what they wanted to work on, and to actually see them do the work. That was beautiful. Yeah.
So cool. I think a lot of the times when we think about counseling in a school, we think of two things. I think we think of guidance counselors setting kids up for future planning. And we also think of maybe some mental health counseling, meeting individually with a counselor. And I love the idea of social emotional learning. I think it's something that I became extremely excited about after I finished my master's degree in social work. And I relocated to the Philadelphia area, and my first job was working as a SAP counselor, student assistance program counselor, in some schools in the area. And I was doing curriculum to teach kids about how they feel, where they feel their feelings in their body. It was with elementary level students. And I was like, whoa, this is so cool. Like, I love the idea of that universal approach to teaching kids about their emotional experiences and helping them identify what is going on inside my body. How can I talk about this openly? How can I verbalize it? And knowing that it's okay to be vulnerable and talk about it, and that we don't have to hide these things. So I just think the work you do was so awesome. And the work at Roosevelt was just amazing.
Yeah, for sure. And just that continued work within the different school districts now too. So that's been a blessing. Because a lot of the times, again, we aren't given that space to talk about what's going on internally. We're meant to suppress it or just kind of keep going through the motions, and allowing students to actually feel seen and feel heard and feel respected enough to be able to have that opportunity. And it's crazy to even call that an opportunity, right? That's just like something that should just be. Yeah. But there's sometimes not enough time in the day for it.
Yeah. We have to make space for it.
We do.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Yeah. Whenever I think about prevention and social emotional learning, I think of this famous parable, which many people have probably heard, and you probably are familiar yourself. But it's this story of these two individuals who are going on a walk, and they are walking along a river, and they see someone flailing in the water, struggling to swim, stay above water. And so they're like, oh my goodness. They go and they help this individual who's struggling out of the water. They get them safe and stabilized. But then they see another person. So they go and they help this other person who's also struggling to get out of the water, because the water is very rigorous and intense. And so they're pulling people out, and another one comes, and there's all these folks coming down the river, and they're like, we need to see what's going on. Why are all these people falling in this river? So they take a walk upstream, and they realize that there's a broken bridge that people are falling through. And so they keep falling through this bridge, and they keep struggling, and they keep having to save them. And they say, we need to fix this bridge. We need to stop people from falling through so that we don't have to react. So I think of that as such a beautiful display of why we need more prevention in our world, why we have to build up those supports as early as possible to make sure that people can make it across the bridge so they don't fall into the raging rapids and continue to struggle. And then we have to pour so much into reaction. And as of course, all of the types of supports that we provide with counseling and crisis support are so necessary. But we can certainly lighten the need for that when we build up strong supports in prevention.
For sure. I mean, it's breaking those generational cycles, but that's breaking that generational current that's happening, because that's really what it is. It's like this riptide that just like sucks you up. And you can easily get like wrapped up in it. I mean, I've been there myself, and that's really why I got into the work that I'm in right now, is because I was so fascinated with human behavior and like why we are the way that we are, and how do we unlearn this stuff? I mean, really, like, a lot of it is unlearning some of the beliefs that have been either passed down to us or stuff that we have learned, and really just resetting our nervous system.
Sure.
So that's something that I also teach students is nervous system reset techniques, and knowing that you can do it within your body. Like, we have all the resources. We were provided with all these resources innately, intuitively, but we have neglected them for so long that sometimes we forget that we even have them until we're retaught them.
Yeah. Is there one method in particular that you really like to help students learn for navigating those nervous system responses?
Yes. So a great nervous system reset technique that you can utilize, whether you're nervous for a test, you are nervous for maybe, I don't know, a classroom presentation. It could even be for a date that you have. It could be for whatever you're really experiencing in life. And I actually did this nervous system reset technique before I came into this podcast. I do it daily if I need it, but it's called shaking. And it sounds a little weird, but what you do is you literally just shake your body out. So you start by like shaking your hands. You shake your hands and then you shake your body. So you obviously want to do this standing up. And so you shake your hands, shake your body, shake each leg. So shaking your legs out, and then you can jump up and down. And so you could do that for a minute. You can do it for 5 minutes, however long you need to. You can put on your favorite song and you can shake and dance to it because both of them are actually really healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So what shaking does is it actually, in a healthy way, releases trauma. It's very gradual, but it's what our bodies innately do. Say if we go for a run or if we worked out and our body starts to shake, our adrenal glands are now being pumped and they're going. And so this is a way for you to just naturally do it. Animals do it. You'll see your dog shake, right? You'll see cats do it, horses, you name it. And we do it as well, whether we're tapping our feet, whether we're shaking our leg. And a lot of the times we try to stop ourselves because we think it's awkward or weird. But if you allow yourself some private time, some space, and again, put on your favorite song, put on some headphones and just shake all of that out, I promise you it feels so good.
I love it.
And this is something that I do actually within my classrooms. I've done it with teachers, counselors. I've done it with kids of all ages, and I find it very silly, but also very relieving.
Okay.
And very grounding too.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. You know, I feel like with nervous system reset techniques, I used to love doing those with the elementary aged kids because, you know, they have a lot of energy and they have
wiggles.
Yes. And like, I feel like somatic exercises can be so helpful for young kiddos that struggle to verbalize certain emotional experiences and stuff like that. Some of our kids would respond so well to like the shaking or like more of the movement, things getting their bodies moving and working out that, like you said, adrenal energy that they have in them. For some of the kids, they might benefit more from something that is like more of like the calming type thing, like a breathing or something that's like soothing in that way. Do you have any favorites that are more of those like calming ones?
Yeah, I would say even just whether you're inside or outside. I prefer outside because I just love being outside, but
Same.
just grounding yourself. So it's a 4-point contact. So having your feet firmly planted on the ground. You can have your hands on your lap and just allowing yourself to just maybe close your eyes and just be here in this moment. You can focus on your breathing. So tuning in to your inhales and your exhalations. And you can count with it if that sometimes help. That can also help if you're experiencing a lot of thoughts. So counting a big inhale in for 4, you can hold again for 4, and then exhale out for 4. So incorporating 4 points of contact on the ground. So right, you got your feet on the ground, your hands on your lap, and then also the breathing. Those two are very just still. You could do it in your seat, or you can do it in outside, sitting down.
I feel calm just listening to you describe it.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it's so helpful. It really is. It really is.
Love that.
My nerdy rant, but we have all this neuroplasticity that we can constantly just learn and take things in, and our brain will change neural pathways when we do learn something new. And so allowing students to understand that you are not stuck. I think that's the biggest thing. Like you are not stuck.
Right.
And I remember multiple times in my life where I felt stuck, like mentally stuck, emotionally stuck. And I had to create a mantra in my head telling myself, I am not stuck. I am not stuck.
Yeah.
And really figuring out like how to get yourself out of that, but also that piece of asking for help.
Yeah.
Which is sometimes so hard.
So hard. So
like,
hard.
so hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as you open that up,
Yeah.
you know, I think so many of us go into the field for that reason, that we've been through our own experiences. We've maybe witnessed people go through really difficult experiences. And so we found love and passion and connection to the work of counseling, of education and things of that nature. So so you opened up the door, so I'm going to walk through it.
Let's go on. Let's go on.
So tell me more.
Let's swim through it.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Nope, I'm fine.
Can you tell us more about like what maybe some of your experiences that, you know, kind of led to you having to help yourself say, I'm not stuck, or like what was that like for you? What was your experience like?
I think even just kind of going back to your parable that you shared, that was my first time actually hearing that parable.
Oh, really?
It was my first time, but it brought me back to a childhood moment. So from a young age, I might have been 10 years old. I had went to camp every summer and loved it. We would have so many different activities, from like basketball to dancing to hockey to swimming. And one time I actually was swimming and I was getting dunked by, like, when someone dunks you in the water.
Yeah.
I was getting dunked over and over and over again, and I actually started to drown.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm only sharing this is because the person that saved me ended up being the person that helped me through so much, but in a different way. So I was saved by it was one of my childhood friends, and we went to camp together every year. So we had this really close relationship. And so fast forward to college, I realized I was experiencing that same type of feeling. And so I get to college and I'm a cheerleader. I'm super excited to be on the cheerleading team, but I was a cheerleader for 8 years and I get to college and I only last 3 months. And I started making poor decisions again and trying to figure out who I want to surround myself with in a new environment where I'm just given so much freedom.
Yeah.
And before I knew it, my grades were slipping. I was almost failing 2 classes. And then my childhood friend that I brought up before, he actually ends up passing away.
Oh my gosh.
And so sometimes when life happens, it kind of comes and it keeps smacking you around. And so that's what I was experiencing my freshman year. And I knew that if I would have continued down the path that I was on, I wouldn't be here today.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And so I'm grateful that I was able to, my mom always says, I have my own mind. So to have my own mind in order to know that that path that I was going down, I wasn't going to get anywhere from that.
Yeah.
And so I did something crazy. I did something crazy, but it was on my heart for a really long time. And it was actually the last day of my freshman year of college, and I joined the military.
Wow.
I said, I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta really change up my environment. And I ended up joining the Army.
Wow.
And that was a pivotal life experience. From there, I served 7 years.
Wow.
And that led me into social work in various different ways. But again, like that fascination with human behavior and why we are the way that we are.
Yeah.
And especially meeting people from all around the world in different states. I mean, you name it. It was eye-opening, and it just encouraged my curiosity even more. And so, yeah, I mean, that was the start of it. That was the start of like really gaining discipline, a newer version of discipline, and courage and strength and confidence. And that's not to say I have it all now, but I'm still developing it and honing into it, into who I am. But I wouldn't change anything that has happened. The hurt, the pain, it all has like brought me to where I'm at today.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, to go through those experiences while you're in college, while you're at this stage of development where your brain is wired for risk taking. It's wired for some of those poor decisions.
It is.
Biologically. Like there is a piece to it where, of course, you know, you want to use your supports, you want to make the right choices, you want to have, you know, healthy behaviors. And I'm not saying that all folks in college are making poor choices, but there is, you know, there's a little bit of a pull towards that when you're in that stage of development. And for you to see what you're engaging in and where your path is going, and to say, hey, this is like not great. I need to change my environment or else things are going to keep going the way they're going. Yeah. I mean, that takes so much wisdom, and just, I mean, that's truly amazing. Was there anything, people or just like certain pieces of your life during that time that really helped you see that?
That's a great question. God,
Okay.
like my faith.
Yeah.
So I was always strong in my faith, and I did have a really good support system just in general.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was friends based, like the ones that I knew that were like really there for me.
Yeah.
But also just my relationship with God has sustained itself, that I knew that he had me through all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that I was going to make it out some way, somehow.
Yeah.
I think that was like the innate wisdom that I was feeling.
Yeah.
That this wasn't going to be the end all, like be all. Like there was a change. And I always felt like this fiery spirit just like burning inside me. And I just leaned into that. I leaned into that more. I met my best friend. So she actually was joining the Army National Guard. And I said, I want to do what you're doing. Like I was so intrigued. And so we started doing CrossFit together.
Wow.
And just when it comes to just like the mental piece and emotional piece, if you add that physical piece in, that really helps with your nervous system and helps really calm the body, but also exert that adrenaline that you're feeling, that stress response.
Yeah.
So we started doing CrossFit, and I ended up meeting my husband in college. I mean, that was later on down the road, but it was the same year that my friend had passed away. So all of that had happened. We were just friends at the time, but 7 years later, like we're together now. And so, I would say from my parents to my best friend to who became my future husband, and then my relationship with Christ, like that is what really grounded me and was the foundation that kept me sturdy through all the rockiness and all the rip current that we were talking about.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. I think you bring a great point to our overall theme of like people needing a solid footing and that prevention being so important, because as much as you had a very strong sense of self-reflection and self-awareness through that process, you had these foundational supports that helped you feel that helped give you that foundation, give you that sturdy bridge, right? That kept you from fully falling through. Maybe you were kind of dangling at.
I was dangling. I was holding on by a thread. I was.
But you had those folks, holding you up. You had your faith. You had that like support system, and that did help you, kind of pivot and make the right choice. And I think that just speaks to the importance of building up that environment. I think, environment is so important when we think about people thriving in certain environments and not thriving in others. And we can put a lot of pressure on folks to be able to make the right choices individually, but sometimes we don't think about the context or the environment. And I think you spoke to that a little bit when you were talking about your work in the high school. But yeah, just a beautiful story. I loved it. Thank you for sharing that with us.
For sure. Yeah. It's that holistic approach. So you're not just who you show up daily. There's more that's going on internally that a lot of us just don't see. And like I said, it's not to say that now that I've experienced all this, I have it all figured out.
Right.
No, I still get nervous. I got nervous right before I came here. But I tell myself now, like, those nerves are just messages that your body is sending to yourself. They're signals. And it's important that you listen to those signals. Don't just ignore them. But those nervous system reset techniques, right? So that could be some breathing exercises. That could be shaking out all those like jitters, all those just like anxious feelings you may be having. And to not just categorize everything as a negative emotion or just a negative experience, right? Because we can always flip that if we're willing to, right? So being able to, again, unlearn some of those things and be willing to relearn and know that there's always opportunity for growth. So,
yeah. So thinking about your story and you experiencing this big loss, I wonder what's like something that you have found to be helpful in managing your experience with grief?
Mm, that's a great question. Because it wasn't just one person. That was one that was just so near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
Because we were lifelong childhood friends.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, by the time I got to college, I had over like 2 handfuls of deaths and like funerals that I had went to.
Dang.
From my grandparents to friends my age,
Wow.
to family members. And grief is something that can really take a hold of you if you allow it.
Mm-hmm.
But to have the mindset of we all are dying day by day,
Mm-hmm.
and we are in this life for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we find our purpose. Sometimes it takes us a while to get to that point, but we're in this life for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And whether we realize it now or later,
Mm-hmm.
and so being able to write out my thoughts in that process, 'cause I told you I started writing really young. So I started writing through those death experiences that I was having at a young age. So my grandmom, she died when I was in 2nd grade. My mom when I was in 5th grade. And from there, it literally felt like death surrounded me. And so when I would write from it was a negative mindset initially, just like trying to pour out all these thoughts that I was feeling like, why was it them and not me? And when I say that I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for me changing up my lifestyle and who I was becoming, I wouldn't have, because it can be captivating.
Yeah.
It can be, and unless you find an outlet.
Right.
And so I started writing poetry, and I just wrote about everything that I was feeling, everything I was experiencing. And then I learned that it's actually writing to people that had passed away. So you can write a letter to them and write out anything that you didn't get to say to them. And you obviously can just keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
You can hold on to that. You can burn it in the fire if you want. You can put it into some water, like put it out into the lake and just let it sail away.
Yeah.
Rip it up and let it blow away in the wind, like whatever feels good for you.
Yeah.
And I did that for my grandmothers. I really just leaned on God. But a lot of it was writing. I wrote so much.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I wrote a lot. I think that was my biggest thing. And then eventually that led to, I think, listening to some different podcasts and music. So I listened to a lot of affirmations music, and I do my worship music too. But I listened to that to pour more positivity into me versus just some of the more like kind of like derogatory music. Try to switch it up, and that has helped be more of a steady anchor. Again, like paying attention to my senses and what I'm like taking in. And yeah, I would say those were like the main things that really, really helped. And asking for help.
Yes.
Yeah. Asking for help.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think with grief, it's so important when you spoke to this is to give space for it, right? To know that it is whatever way that you're processing your grief is your own, and that there's, some folks feel like they have to like process it quickly or process it differently. And so I think it's great to have your own individual method of coping with loss, and to know the important thing is that whatever you're feeling isn't to be stowed away or hidden. We can express it, whether that's through speaking or writing or through music or the arts. There's so many ways of expression, but I love that, you you hold space for that for yourself, and that you found writing to be helpful with that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I had to hold that space because I held on to that pain for at least like 15 years. Like from a very young age, I didn't release that until I was almost done college.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And so it can captivate you, or you can gradually learn to release it at your own timing, but giving your space to just mourn, but also know that it is life, right? And life is going to go on. And there's no, when it comes to that, I mean, a pastor once said that God makes no mistakes. And so people can have their own beliefs, but that is my belief, no matter how hard it is. And yeah, I mean, that's what the pastor at my friend's funeral had said. And it was a gut check.
Yeah.
Like it really was a gut check, and to know that, life is going to go on, and it's important that we do what we can while we are here in this world.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Very true. I think one of the quotes that's always resonated with me is that that grief doesn't go away, and it doesn't, change in size, but your life, I'm going to butcher this quote, your life like grows around it, or like, your life kind of, you find ways to fit it in with the rest of your life. So, it's not that that it goes away, or you feel better, or you forget about the person, or whatever the grief experience is, but your life adapts to that grief, and it's a piece of sadness that you take with you throughout your life, but you figure out how to hold space for it, you figure out how to cope with it, and it just kind of stays with you. So,
and essentially learn how to live for them.
Like
that's how I see it, just learning how to live for them.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah
Well, Marlena, thank you so much for speaking with me today. This was a really nice talk, a lot of vulnerability, so thank you.
That's my realm. I'm an open book. I think it's important to let it out. There's so many people that need to hear it. And if we keep all of everything bottled in and we never express it, then who else can learn from your experience, right?
Truth.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Marlena.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
TLC Connections is supported in part by the Lincoln Center for Family and Youth. Through education, counseling, coaching, and consulting, we empower people to make positive choices, meaningful connections, and transformational change. To learn more, visit thelincolncenter.com.